Hey, thanks for clicking on this. What we're going to do in this video is just work through this song that I made for Pam Walls. Her YouTube channel is called Pam Walls Game Design, and I reached out to her asking if I could make her a theme song, something just to help brand her channel, and this is what we came up with. So if you would be interested in working with me on any creative projects that you're working on, whether that's thinking about starting a podcast, you have a YouTube channel, or you're thinking about starting one and would love to have some music to help brand your sound, your channel. If you're working on a mobile game or an indie game or just anything like that, I would love to make music for your next creative project. So thanks for considering me on this. This is, like I was saying, this is Pam's Jam. That's what we decided to call it. And she asked me to make something lo-fi, which I didn't do because I don't really know how to make lo-fi, I've discovered. So I'm working on that, some room for growth. But the cool thing is that even though I didn't quite make what she had in mind initially, what we landed on really is something that she really enjoyed. And so that's exciting. So we started out here with a vinyl crackle. Again, we were coming from the perspective that this was going to be something lo-fi sounding. And then with lo-fi, you've got to have a good chord structure. And I kind of forget how I landed on this 80s chime vibe patch here in GarageBand, but it just kind of has this lullaby kind of, I don't know, fun feeling. Not too chill, but also not too moody. I don't know. So we've got that's our chord progression. I think the next thing that I did was actually add the bass. And I've got a 5-string bass that I play. So I played this on there first, and then once I got a feel for what I wanted to play, I actually went back and added it on the keys. So this is what that sounds like. And that last note there that's just repeating is really important because that's not the root note of the chord that I'm playing here in the top. And so that keeps the chord progression from feeling too resolved and too cheesy or too stale. So even though the chord on top is not playing that, with that being in the bass, it just makes that whole progression feel different. And then from there, I knew that we wanted to have something upbeat, something dancey and fast, and so I just did this hi-hat and snare progression on my electronic drums. So it's really annoying if you only listen to that. And then after that, I added in the kick. And just like any good kick does, I was really focused on just working it around the snare. And so all of that together sounds like this. All right, so now we've got the main structure of the song, right? We've got our bass, we've got our drums, we've got the chord progression, and so in the bass and the kick, we're covering the low frequencies, we're covering the low end of the mix, and then our chords are covering the mid-range of the mix, and the hi-hat and the snare are in between the mid and the highs there on the of the mix. And so right now we've only got the lows and the mids covered, but there's more work that we can do to cover the mids, and there's really nothing yet in the high. And if you want to create a full sound, you really want to have something that's covering all of these ranges. And so what you have to do is you end up adding things in here that someone with an untrained ear would never actually realize that they're hearing. For example, this starting chord was really just a way for me to start the song, to kind of swell into this beat so that it didn't just come out of nowhere. But then I just kept looping it to help fill out some of this mid-range, and I put a filter on it that makes it swirl back and forth so that we're also using a fuller range, fuller dynamic range of the sound, just going left and right. So that's kind of in the mid to high range that we're covering. So we really want to have something on the high end to make that feel more full. So I took the same chord structure that I've got here in the 80s chime vibe, and I just did some inversions with that and found another patch, Fairy Tales, Bells. I didn't name that. This is all GarageBand's things. Great name for this, though. Just 4 chords, a nice little resolution there. And so that just sits on top of it. And then we needed a melody. That was the last thing. Something Pam wanted was to have a melody that gets stuck in your head that you can kind of, as you end one of her videos, you're still hearing the theme song. So this melody is probably hard to sing, but I think it is pretty catchy, and it does get in your head. And I started by picking the patch. I think picking the hammered wood patch was important, because if I had just tried to make something with a grand piano sound, then I don't think I would have come up with this, because this has the right amount of attack. It's got this kind of, I don't know, video game feel to it that inspired the melody itself. And so if you're trying to make music, sometimes you just need to start with a good patch and then go from there, as opposed to trying to come to it with a chord progression or come to it with a melody. So this is that melody. It's got a syncopated start. And then I just did this hard left and right pan with a filter. Again, trying to use the full range there. It's probably too much of a filter, but when it's all together, it actually sounds really nice. And you don't really notice it unless you're using headphones. If you're watching this on your phone, you can turn it sideways, and you'll be able to hear a little bit of that panning motion. But I'm going to go ahead and play this track for us. In the future, I'm hoping to work with some more creators. Again, if you're looking to start a podcast, a YouTube channel, you're trying to make some music for your game, mobile game, indie game, whatever that may be, any project that you're working on that needs music and you would love to get just a free demo to listen to something, I would love to work with you. You can send me some tracks, some ideas, what you're shooting for, maybe a sample of the project that you're working on, and then I would love to send you just a quick demo just like this. This is only like a 30-second thing, and then we can decide from there if we want to work together. So that would all be free. I would love to work with you, and so we're just gonna close out this video by listening to this together.